that time of the week. I get to spend a recording session with the Soul Finder, Kathy D. Carter. I always look forward to these sessions, and today we spoke a little bit before we started recording. We're going to have some fun this episode.
Yes, let's do it.
We were talking about travel.
Yes.
Because you've been doing some travel.
Yes.
And so where'd you go?
I flew into Phoenix, and then I had a road trip with my granddaughter and son, and we went to the Grand Canyon and went back to California.
Okay, real quick, Phoenix. It's been a big player in your life the past couple days or weeks.
Uh-huh.
Because you got a text message from a listener in Phoenix.
I did.
Casey
texted me and was thanking me for the podcast. And she said that it had helped her a lot. She had been in a kind of dark place and she was starting to feel light again. And she wanted to say thank you. And I really appreciate that greatly.
That's one of the cool things about these podcasts is just like in life, you don't know who you're reaching.
That's right. You don't.
And in life, you reach a lot of people and you impact a lot of people that you just have no clue.
We all do.
That yes. You're impacting. Yeah, and so, just keep that in mind. People are watching, people are listening, and especially when you have a podcast, people are listening. So that's awesome. Back to the road trip.
Yes, let's talk about road trips.
So you drive from Phoenix to California.
Mm-hmm.
How long does that take?
Well, it was split up because we spent the night several places. So we could drive as much as, I guess, 6 hours, 4 hours. But it was a lot of fun. And we had their dog with us, and she was just perfect. And we just had a really good time.
All right. That's awesome. Before we started recording, we were talking, and you're saying that you like to travel with people.
I will drive alone, and I love driving as long as it's not in a busy city. I love driving. But to make a road trip, I would much prefer having someone with me that was compatible with my way of road trips.
And how's that? What's compatible?
So my way of a road trip is not to be in a rush. My idea of a road trip is, oh my God, let's try to beat the time that we made it in last time. Let's not make any stops unless we absolutely have to. Oh no, you can't go to the bathroom now. There's another place down the road that's a lot better to stop at. You get to that and you go on by it because the driver is in this race with himself about how fast can we make this trip. And it's insane. It's your present moment of life, and you're out in this territory where you don't usually happen to be. And maybe you see a road sign of something you want to go look at. No, can't do that. We got to hurry. We got to get back. We've got to be there on time. So that's my kind of road trip, is where you stop. You enjoy it. If you're tired of riding, you get out. You don't force yourself to go 10 hours instead of getting out at 8. So go ahead. Tell me about yours.
Well, I'm one extreme or the other.
Okay.
I'm definitely not in the middle. And I make the decision, conscious decision, before I even get in the car.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so I'm either, let's see how fast we can get there.
Uh-huh.
Or I'm going to stop at every historical marker. And I'm just going to enjoy the trip. And I like it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, the worst thing that was ever invented for people like you that like to just kind of relax is navigation.
Because,
and I bet you've traveled with people like this, or it sounds like it maybe. I know I'm not alone. How's that? Is it when you get in your car and you type in your destination,
right?
It gives you the estimated time of arrival.
Yes.
But that time of arrival adjusts with how quickly you're getting to places. So I like to see how much time I can take off of that estimate. So if it says, if I'm doing a 5-hour trip and I get in the car at noon and it says my ETA is 5 p.m.,
Right.
my goal is to get that down to 4:15.
Why? What is
Just
the driving
it's
force?
a challenge. It's a game. That's all it is. It's just a game.
Right.
And I actually had a friend who got a speeding ticket. And you know, a lot like me, if I'm speeding or I do something wrong, I get caught. Hey, that's just the way life is.
Right.
I'm not going to argue or anything like that. I'm just like in high school, if I skipped school to play golf or something, I would go in the next day and to the office and say, I need an unexcused absence because I just took yesterday off and played golf. You know, no point in lying.
Right.
And so the cop asked my friend, you know, sir, is there a reason you're going so fast? And Andy told the cop, well, I'm driving from here to here and I was breaking my personal record. And the cop just laughed and said, well, I'm going to give you a ticket and I'm not going to be able to give you a police escort so you can break your record. But yeah, it's just a game. That's all.
So it's just the challenge to see if you can beat the time.
Yeah.
And what does it feel like if you beat the time?
Oh, you always beat the time.
Okay. So you never fail.
Unless you get stopped. No, it's a goal. It's,
Okay. So it's a road trip goal.
yeah.
How fast can I do this?
How can I prove this navigation wrong?
So do you feel like you missed out on anything?
No, you know why not? Because if I make that conscious decision, I've already decided.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
So that's
I'm
your
not gonna
goal.
miss out on anything.
So you do this consciously when you get in the car for a road trip.
Oh yeah.
So tell me what a road trip is like that you decide not to do that.
Oh, it's a lot more fun.
Okay.
I'll fully admit it. I mean, it's just sometimes I'm driving somewhere to get somewhere, and other times I'm
Just taking the road
just
trip.
want to, let me put it to you this way. I think this is a good way to put it. I went to Stephen F. Austin, which is in Nacogdoches, Texas, for you people in Phoenix that don't know. Thanks, Casey. And it's about a 3.5-hour trip from Dallas if you go the interstate. Now, if you go the interstate, there's nothing to see.
Okay.
Okay. But you can also go on state highways and country roads, and that's like a 4 hour and 15, it adds like 45 minutes.
Okay.
And even in college, I would make the decision, okay, today I'm going to drive the country, the back roads. I'm going to see some of these small towns in Texas, and, I'm going to see the scenery, and I'll stop at the red lights and, stuff like that. I'm not going to drive the interstate. So it just depends on what kind of frame of mind I'm in. And if I want to get back to Dallas quicker.
So what kind of things would you do on the backcountry road trip?
I would stop at stores.
Okay.
That I shouldn't say, I never stopped really that much. But if there was a place that looked interesting, I could pull in and just kind of check it out.
So you would, if you
The
wanted
other
to.
thing that makes me weird, you'll laugh at this, is I'm fascinated for some reason with old high school like football stadiums and rodeo in Texas. Rodeos, like the small town rodeo. And back then, which was in the late 80s, early 90s, I'm not sure if they still do this, but these small towns in Texas on Friday night, they had little rodeos.
Oh.
And, if I went home sometimes I would go home at night just so to see how many people are showing up these rodeos.
So you would stop at the rodeo?
I wouldn't stop. I just
Go drive by. So
I like seeing things.
So on longer road trips, say a 12-hour plus, would you force your body to wait till you wanted to stop? Especially if you was on one of the time deals that you were wanting to be.
Oh, yeah.
So would you say that was loving your body and taking care of your physical body?
Well, no, but that was
Because
I had a goal.
you had a goal. So it's okay to sacrifice your body's needs if you have a goal.
Well, sometimes you have to make sacrifices.
This is true. This is true. I agree.
No pain, no gain.
That I don't believe. That I do not buy into. I think that you can have gain without pain.
Okay.
Now, I know the sports world does not agree with that.
I actually do agree with you, though. But
okay. Yeah. Okay. So if you had a partner and you had made the conscious decision to get there as fast as you could, would you announce that to your partner, or would you just drive on, or would you consult with the partner on your decision?
It is it's very rare that I drive with people
Right.
on road trips like that.
Okay.
But yeah, if like when I was married, fortunately, she and I were kind of on the same page.
Okay.
When it came to stuff like that. For example, she had a rule that I completely supported, that if she was hungry or we needed to stop for other reasons, if the closest place was on the other side of the interstate, we couldn't stop there.
It had to be on your
It
side.
had to be easy on, easy off. Okay? Which I think is a decent rule. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, the whole truth of the matter, though, is it's not that inconvenient to cross an overpass
Right.
and get back to where you're going. But that was the rule that.
Well, but you all agreed on it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was something you all agreed to because,
And this is where you can. Because I think this is kind of where you're going. But I will tell you this. She really liked Burger King. And we would see a sign for burger, like a billboard, Burger King next exit or whatever. And as we got closer, she'd see that the Burger King was on the other side of the road. And even though she really wanted to stop there,
she wouldn't.
nope, can't do it. It's on the wrong side of the road, which she was not going to get an argument from me. But
Right. So, okay, so you all had that. Well, the thing of it is that was great about that is you had communication and you were all on the same page. So,
I shouldn't tell you this story. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go on.
Because the reason I'm cutting you off is you may be able to add to what you're about to tell me.
Yeah, I know.
The other thing, when I'm driving with someone, I love to have fun with that person.
In what way? They're a captive
Okay,
audience.
you got to understand, and Kathy knows this. I'm politically not correct. Okay, and in the state of Texas and probably other states, but back in the early 2000s, I don't think there's one now, but on the interstates, there was a nighttime and a daytime speed limit.
Oh.
That was different. Because they wanted you to drive slower at night. So when you pass the speed limit sign, and there'd be one sign for the nighttime that was 65 miles an hour, and the daytime was 75 or 65 and 55, whatever. But the nighttime speed limit was 10 miles an hour slower.
Okay.
Well, the signs, and it made sense. The nighttime speed limit, the sign was black, and the daytime speed limit sign was white. Makes sense, right?
Right.
Well, I told my wife at the time, I said, look, here's the thing. We passed one of those signs. I said, you grew up in the Northeast, but now you're down south, and we make black people drive 10 miles an hour slower. And I had her convinced of that for like 5 minutes of the trip.
Wow.
Because it's just, that kind of makes sense too. If you see a black sign and, black people have to drive slower. But,
Oh, that's insane. That's insane. I cannot believe that.
so I do stuff like that. Or we'll drive past like an old Dairy Queen or something. And I'd say that's the first Dairy Queen ever in the state of Texas.
And she'd believe you.
Yeah. Because it's kind of believable. I just make things up about places. Just for my own entertainment purposes.
To see if she'd believe it or not.
Yeah. You can't just drive. You have to have either a goal or some. You can't just.
Oh, so there has to be an agenda.
Yeah, there has to be something other than just driving.
There has to be an agenda other than relaxing, listening to music, and watching the scenery.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, watching the scenery is an agenda.
Okay, is it?
On its own, yeah.
Well, what happens when you're on 70 across Kansas and there's nothing to see?
Well, then you're trying to beat the time.
So if there's no scenery, we're in a race against our last record.
Exactly. Well, people play. You're a mom. Mm-hmm. Did you ever play games with your kids on road trips?
Oh my God, my poor kids. See, they made these road trips I'm talking about. 20 and 22-hour long road trips. Mm-hmm. Bless their little hearts. They were precious little darlings, and they were so good because we were with the driver that wouldn't stop, that had to beat the time.
Did you support that driver?
No.
Oh, come on.
The thing of it is, I guess the point of this is that you should always be able to communicate with your partner. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would try, but it was just tossed out the window because there was an agenda in his head.
See, and I have not had to worry about that. We're going to do another episode about this because that's something I'm going through. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get off on this, but part of the other episode we're going to do is I am single. Uh-huh. I'm not in a relationship.
Right.
I don't want to be in a relationship.
Right.
Because my life is awesome because I don't have to think about anyone else.
That is something that I thought about today we should talk about because there's a lot. I mean, every client that comes in to see me, it's all about how they're feeling so lonely. Mm-hmm. And they haven't got to your point yet. Yeah. So that'd be a good one.
And where I'm going with that, and teasing the next episode maybe, but if I'm your partner that you're talking about, and I've got kids in the car, and a wife or the mother of those kids, I have to think about them, and I can't have my own agenda without. That's not the way I am.
So you're a compassionate soul.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
Consider other people.
Yeah.
That's good.
And so that may be one of the reasons I enjoy taking the road trip by myself. So I can do what I want, how I want, and I don't have to. I don't have to think about anyone else.
Right.
I don't have to consider other people's feelings, which may make me kind of selfish, but
no, when you're alone.
No, when I'm alone, yeah.
No, when you're alone. And you said you consider the others if they're in there.
Yeah, but it's selfish for me. So, okay, separate cars.
Well, that may be
I don't want to be burdened by your needs.
That can also be looked at as self-love because it's so important to you to have that time and space that you take care of yourself by taking another car. Mm-hmm. That's not so bad.
Okay.
I don't think that's bad at all or wrong because I think that's self-love. I need my space and time, and therefore I will drive separate so that I can have what I need. I think the whole point here is if you happen to be with a partner that disregards your needs or your wants or your desires while you're driving, just because they're the one behind the wheel, that doesn't give them. A lot of people, the game is, if I'm the one driving, I get to pick the radio and the music, right?
Wow, that's another interesting point.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm the opposite.
Oh?
Yes.
Go.
If you get in the car with me and I'm driving, I make it clear you get to control the radio, you get to control the climate.
Well, look at you.
Now it's gotten easier because cars have dual,
yeah.
But I'm like, okay, I'm driving. You're in control of everything else.
Wow.
Yeah, I never even considered I'm the captain and I get to control all this.
Oh yeah, I've been with lots of those.
It's quite the opposite, which maybe I should have been different all along.
No, I don't think so. I think I should have been more aware that I wasn't having a say at all, and I was just following the one that wanted to control everything, because that was a problem I had. So I think it's communication with your partner, and if you don't have a say, you need to look at your relationship.
Well, and maybe we should have started with that because, I know we're having fun talking about road trips, but it does apply to like some very serious decisions in life. It's just a kind of a sample.
Yes, a sample of what it could manifest as.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think, but I don't think that I've ever, except for one person, have I ever been in a car where they didn't have the attitude, no, I'm driving, I get to pick the music, I get to pick the temperature.
Really?
They did it all. That never even occurred to me, to be honest with you. Well, that's because you're not a narcissist.
As a matter of fact, let me tell you, okay, because this got brought up yesterday. I refer to my ex-wife a lot. And once again, it just didn't work out with us. She's a great person. You'd love her. And we would take trips to college football games around, like day trips. And we went to a game in Stillwater, Oklahoma. She went to West Virginia. West Virginia was playing Oklahoma State. And I brought this up on a podcast I recorded yesterday, and I texted her about it because it was, I didn't say it this way to her, but it was one of the few times where she was a lot of fun. Probably should edit that out. But that was one of the most fun times I had with her. How's that?
Yes.
And in the game, West Virginia was losing. And like I said, she's a big West Virginia fan.
Right.
And in the fourth quarter, West Virginia came back and they win the game.
Oh.
And so we're driving home. We're still in the stadium traffic. And I said to her, once again, look at me. I said, now, do you want to go home? Or would you rather just like get a hotel room out here and go home tomorrow? How tired are you? And she kind of grinned and said, I think we better go home. And I was like, okay, but what's going on? Why do we need to get home? Because we didn't have, no kids, no dog.
Right.
And the way she said it, I could tell there's something. I said, why do we need to go home? And she said, well, in the fourth quarter, I kind of made a deal with God that if West Virginia came back, we'd go to church tomorrow. So we made it home. But so things like that. I like things like that. And I gave her the hardest time on the way. All the way home. I'm like, you know what? God didn't care about that game at all until you made that deal with him. And then God said, you know what? I better,
we got to make them win.
Sherry's going to go to church. By God, I'm going to make West Virginia win this game because that girl needs to go to church.
Oh, goodness. That is, lots of people make deals like that.
Yes, that could
with
be
the universe.
Episode.
Yes, it could be. Okay, so we'll wind this one up with communication is key and being aware. Just because you were raised in a family where the driver always had control of everything in the car, and now you're out on your own and you still let the driver have control of everything, that could be a very good sign that you have just replaced one abuser with another. It could be that you're not aware of how the relationship could be more give and take, where you actually are able to have a say in it. Now, I have found in my work that most of the time the people that have this problem are empaths, because empaths are very conceding. They allow people to say, oh, this is what we're going to do, and the empath will say, oh, that's okay. When in fact, they want to do something different, but they have lived their life being that way. So good communication in relationships, and if you're an empath, really pay attention to what is more considered normal, because there's a good chance you have kept yourself in somewhat, I'm not saying totally abusive, but you've been in a controlling relationship all your life and you're not even aware of that.
Good deal. All right. That is The Soul Finder, Kathy D. Carter, kathydcarter.com. is where you can find her and get all sorts of information. You can also just click the show notes as you're listening to this, because Kathy, there's a link to the website, more information about Kathy. But really, and I do this all the time, Kathy, I really like your website because it's just full of information. It's full of an audio stream that we have where you can hear every episode.
Right.
And everything's archived also. So go to kathydcarter.com. Thank you so much.